Welcome everybody to the entrance of Wrong. We will be looking at the classic UO dungeon, Wrong, this morning. Well, it's morning for me. I'm not sure what time it is for you guys. But yeah, so by the time you see this, you should be able to access Wrong Dungeon on Test Center. So just go ahead and check it out. The doors will not be locked. They'll be unlocked. They're currently locked because we're still tweaking a few things, but for the most part, the dungeon is complete. You'll notice that we've got all of the classic coffin and decorations here in Wrong. We did make some changes just because, you know, in some cases the things that were in Wrong were just a little too busy. And we made some changes to certain things that you might remember, but I won't be specific. And definitely the dungeon itself is not a one-to-one, so it is our modern take on it, and we took some creative liberties as well. Yeah, let's dive in. So I'm going to use a torch, as you can see, and also the bless spell, which gives me this nice little orb that surrounds me. I kind of like it more than Night Sight at the moment, and it also gives more of a cinematic feel. So here is a rat man. Now you've seen this before in previous videos, but I just wanted to get up close and show you, how detailed this is. Now there's another custom asset that we've added. It's not part of Legends of Aria, and this is the Ratman Mage. As you can see, it's quite different. He's holding a staff, and he's got some weird horned hat hairdo thing going on. And he's got a lot of, camouflage, I don't know, war paint, what have you. And then up here, we have an ogre. Now, you'll notice that this ogre has got one eye, so more of a cyclops, but we will be changing this custom asset so that the ogres will have two eyes. This is more of a temporary placeholder thing, but it's a custom asset that we've added. As you can see, you can run around the walls in Wrong, which, if you guys played Classic UO, you remember that you could do that. In fact, I did a lot of macroing behind the walls of Wrong when I played UO. So yeah. Now there's a little interesting doodad there. I wonder what that might be. It might teleport you, or it might be a teleport location. I guess you'll just have to find out. So as for the monsters inside these cells, on this side, we're on the right-hand side of level 1. We've got ogres. We've got ratman mages. You might have ratmen or ratman mages. They just sort of spawn randomly. We have stone harpies. We have trolls. And I think that might be it for this part of the dungeon. But I'm really just kind of showing you the amount of detail and decoration that we went into here. Oh, there's also some treasure chests. So we're trying to really offer this dungeon as, I don't want to call it the newbie dungeon, but let's just say it's a low-level friendly dungeon. And it's also very tiny. I mean, you remember Wrong from Classic UO. It was a very small dungeon. So, we want to make this a place where, even a person by themselves could be fairly successful in. Ideally, if you take on anything tougher like the mini-boss or the boss, you're going to want to have more than one person. But you could definitely come here by yourself and be successful. Doesn't mean you'll be able to clear the dungeon, but it's going to be more friendly to new players, or let's just say slightly more experienced players than new players. I guess adept players, or even expert players, all by themselves. So you could solo to a certain extent here, and you don't have to be a tamer or a bard. It's sort of the goal. But yeah, as you can see, you can run around the walls. We do have some spawns on the outside of the walls because we want to make sure that people aren't just completely circumventing content. But here on the left side, you'll see much of the same. You've got either ratman mages, you've got ogres, you've got trolls, and yeah, I mean that is the most of the spawns on this level. So you can see we've got some low-level chests here, just trying to demonstrate, that it's friendly to, I don't want to say new players, but just lower-level players. And yeah, you can see the detail here. Our deco team and others did a really great job. So thank you guys for that. And here we have the executioners. This particular area is, in the classic UO, was kind of a nasty area, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. You've got treasure chests, you've got some mages, and executioners are definitely tougher. And we try to reward you if you are a little adventurous and you go around the outside of the walls. We'll give you, a treasure chest or two. And you can see we've got a skeleton on a rack, we've got a skeleton on a pike, we've got blood in the center table of the room. So, we're trying our best in terms of deco. Things will improve over time. And as you can see, we've got spawns and treasure chests for those stealthers that, are going to try to reach these chests on the outer walls. There's definitely risk involved there. If someone finds out that you're back there, you're kind of, stuck between them and a hard place. So you might want to be careful with that, but high risk, high reward. And another thing to mention is we will likely allow recall out of our dungeons going forward. But recall in, I think we've decided that we don't want that. It kind of ruins our dungeon design, or really, takes away from the meaning of it. So now we just entered level 2, and up here on the left-hand side, we have a bunch of murderers and executioners. So, in the classic UO dungeon, these were jail cells. We want to stay away from doors, I think, in this dungeon, because it offers some wonkiness, and it players can game it a little too easily, tricking the AI. And this area back here, we will definitely add a reason to explore back here, like a treasure chest and maybe even a spawn. So just showcasing that this is yet again another thing that we're doing differently from classic ROM. But yeah, all these guys, they're, you can take them solo. They're going to be more tough though. This is level 2. So on the right-hand side, it's similar. I think there's more treasure chests on this side. There's definitely more mobs on this side, but it's a mixture of mages, murderers, and executioners. So this isn't going to be as easy to take on solo. Really, neither end, no end of this level is easy to take on solo. You can certainly do it if you pull slowly. And then in here is our mini boss. So this is basically the mess hall. This is the lair of Fezzik, the ogre chef. And, it's not going to be simple to clear this area, but there's going to be some reward involved. I don't think that a player can take him on solo. I really doubt it. It's possible, I suppose, but you've got an ogre lord spawn in here, as well as Fezzik, a bunch of executioners and murderers and evil mages. It's not going to be simple. So this is definitely an area where you want at least 2, maybe 3 people to try to take on this mini boss. I won't expand too much into the lore, but basically, this boss does talk, and there's some lore involved in his communications. And if you remember anything about Fezzik from original ROM, he's killing a lot of things, and he's serving it up. Basically, the entire dungeon feeds on the corpses of the people that come inside. So the ogre chef is feeding wrong dungeon, and this is the mess hall. This is where he makes everything. So do not be dinner. That would be bad. And I killed my llama just to show you the text that popped up from Fezzik. So he definitely will say stuff, and pay attention to what the mini bosses and the bosses say in all of our dungeons going forward. It is going to be important. So yeah, pay attention to that. I'm trying to get a better look at this custom asset. As you can see, he's holding a long spear and a long axe. So it looks pretty cool. He's also massive. Expect us to tweak our custom assets more. Expect 2 eyes on ogres and things like that. Also expect a lot more custom assets from us. Especially as I show you Ice Dungeon next. Probably in the next video I'll show you Ice Dungeon. So we'll have a bunch of new custom assets in that too. All of our mobs are going to wander. They have really large wander ranges, so you should see less clumping in the dungeon. So now let's go ahead and run back. I'll show you sort of a way to traverse wrong with minimal amount of mobs. So there was one rat man I was able to run by. And there's a troll. And another rat man, a rat man mage, ogre. And you see I'm not running into quite as many mobs. There's another rat man, and then here's a stone harp. So that is a sparkle teleporter, but it's actually the exit point from our new addition to Wrong. So if you come down here to the right, you'll see a bunch of ogres and ratmen and ogre lords and trolls. And it seems like they're doing something like standing guard, and they also seem to be feeding something. So there's this giant hole in Wrong. It's the Wrong hole. If you go in, it says you have fallen into a bloody pit of bones and rotting flesh. What? So the ogre chef and his minions are feeding what seems to be the archmage. Oh, yeah, interesting. So this is going to be the main boss encounter. As you can see, there's some treasure chests here, and the sparkly little wisp here is your teleporter. Yeah, so this is going to be your main boss encounter. This is definitely not going to be a soloable, encounter. And we may do some interesting things there. But yeah, so this is Wrong, and this is subject to change, expect it to change. And I didn't mention anything about traps. I want you guys to just figure that out on your own. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned to our next video, and take care.